Fans of the book should be happy. This is a fantastic adaptation of Project Hail Mary. Okay, so earlier today, I did a double feature day today, and the first film on schedule was Project Hail Mary. For those of you who know or remember me talking about this before, I had the opportunity to meet Andy Weir and Ray Porter, who is the narrator of Project Hail Mary, last year at San Diego Comic-Con. When we were there, there was an Audible dinner, and we were just all there, and so I got a chance to visit with them. And that was when I decided to listen to the book. I had not listened to the book, but met Ray, really liked him, listened to the book, was blown away by his performance. He's so good in there. And the writing is really good. Andy Weir is a very good author. I wanted to put enough distance between having listened to the book and watching the movie. I'm glad I did. The thing is, I remembered the story pretty clearly. There was nothing that happened in here that was a surprise to me or that I had forgotten from the book, because it was just a few months ago that I actually listened to it. But this film is very good, and I don't think I have any cons. There are some things that I noticed, some differences, very, very minor, and some things that I wish had been done instead. But none of those are anything that really detract from this film for me. And I don't think you need to have read the book to fully enjoy this film. The audience reaction was pretty strong. There was someone who started to applaud at the end, and the people in the theater, they really seemed to enjoy it. There was audience reaction to what was going on, and it was very positive, you could tell. For those who haven't read the story or listened to the book, the basic premise is that the Earth's sun is dying, and Ryland Grace has been sent up into space on a mission to try to figure out why is Earth's sun dying. There is another sun I think that they've recognized is not being affected by whatever is affecting Earth's sun. And he's sent there to, figure out what is this, and is this anything that can help us on Earth? If you have seen the trailer and you didn't know the story, there is a huge reveal in the trailer that still really aggravates me. Wish they hadn't done that, but because they did, I'll go ahead and mention it here. While he's in space, he happens to meet life, another life form who comes from a planet that is dealing with the same thing that Earth is dealing with. So that's the general setup for Project Hail Mary. The story follows the same general structure of the book. It uses flashbacks effectively. It gradually reveals how and why Ryan Gosling's character is on this spaceship at the beginning. There is some slight time compression in the beginning because he's being woken up from a which it shows that in the trailers, no spoilers. His recovery from this experience in the book is a bit longer. It takes him a while before he can even talk, let alone move around and scamper around and climb up like ladder structures or whatever. But obviously they cannot spread everything out so much. So that's the sort of time compression that's completely forgivable. As I've already mentioned, there are some changes to the book. There pretty much always are when it comes to film adaptations of a book, because you just cannot put everything in there. However, this one was done very well. I'll briefly mention some of the things that were changed without getting into specifics. One has to do with the interactions between the two of them and how some of those interactions were exaggerated a little bit for comedic effect. It didn't really happen that way in the book. Also, certain things with regard to mannerisms and physical functions of the two people, the way they talked about those things and how the conversation flowed was much different than what it showed in the film. And the film also omits, I can't really say this is a change, but this is one of the things that was omitted, was they didn't really fully explain why Grace was chosen for this mission. The book had more context as far as that went. However, the main reason that is given in the movie is really specifically why. But there was another thing, which I think would have been cool if they had brought it up, but maybe if they had, that would have raised questions that weren't really necessary for the overall story. Maybe I'll talk about some of this in the comments so I don't give away too much here in the review. As far as performances, Ryan Gosling really carries this film. It's often just him on screen with this non-human entity that he's interacting with. So he has a strong solo performance that keeps it quite engaging, I thought. This is not a short film. It's 2 hours and 36 minutes, I think. Obviously, credits makes up for part of that, but it's a pretty hefty film. And I was starting to get a little worried at the end when there was a lot of stuff that I knew still needed to happen and it hadn't happened yet. And I was like, how are they going to cram all this in the remaining time that we have? And are they going to change the ending completely? They did not change the ending completely. The way things wrapped up was done very well. Given all of the material in the story, I think they did a really, really good job at trimming out stuff that probably didn't need to be in there. So kudos to them for that, whoever adapted the screenplay, because I didn't look into it. It's not quite a one location film, even though it is in a lot of ways, but not really, because you got the flashback sequences that take place on Earth, where he is interacting with this woman played by Sandra Hüller, if I'm saying her name right. She is the person that has been put in charge of trying to figure out the situation and compiling a group of scientists and other smart-minded people to figure out how the heck to deal with this problem. So you've got those interactions with her and some of the other characters. I think that those flashbacks help kind of break up, I don't want to say the monotony of him being on this spaceship by himself for the most part, or interacting with this other life form, but it helps kind of give you a break from the immediate tension of the moment with regard to his mission and the danger that they're in and the stuff they're trying to figure out. So I felt like that really gave it a good flow. Same thing as the book, because this is formatted pretty much the exact way that it happens in the story. The character of the other life form, his name is Rocky. Well, Grace gives him that name. I thought he was represented very much like how he's described in the book. And I was wondering how that was going to look, and I wasn't disappointed. He doesn't really have any facial features, but he carries emotion in the way his body behaves. And I just thought he was done very, very well. The voice that they used for him once they figured out how to communicate, I really wish that they had used Ray Porter as the voice of Rocky. I know I'm a little biased, but I really liked how he did that in the audiobook. It's not a huge complaint. It's just kind of like a personal preference of mine, but the voice actor that they got to do his lines, I thought he did a solid job. I don't think it's really going to be something that's a disappointment to people. I thought the film also had a very good balance of humor. There were some genuinely funny moments, just like the book, really. And it also had a good level of emotional depth and themes that were presented in here, like friendship and sacrifice and bravery. And there were several moments of tenderness and beauty, and some scenes, I'm not gonna lie, they were emotional enough to make me tear up. They just were. So I thought that was done very, very well. Final thoughts are that any tweaks that they made to the story didn't hurt the film at all. It was a very strong adaptation and quite engaging, despite the limited setting at times and the extensive runtime that we had for this film. The positive audience reaction makes me think that most people will really enjoy this. I hope it performs well. Don't know, we'll see. It's long. Not everybody knows about Project Hail Mary. There's some competition with Ready or Not 2. So, I'm curious to see how it does. I know that among those of us who know of this film, have listened to or read the book, the anticipation has been pretty up there. So we'll see if that anticipation is reflected in the box office numbers. Anyway, for now, those are my thoughts on Project Hail Mary. I do recommend checking this film out if you like sci-fi, Ryan Gosling, Andy Weir, whatever. Even if you don't, I recommend checking it out. I think it's best viewed on the big screen. I found out about the way this was filmed was not like stuff. It was filmed differently. I didn't do deep digging. Maybe I'll put something about that in the video when I'm editing it, but that makes me appreciate this movie even more. So I hope you guys check it out and let me know what you think when you do. Okay, that's it for this one, you guys. Bye.